Good evening, East Tennessee. We've got a severe thunderstorm warning that's now moving through Blount County. The worst of it appears to have moved away from Maryville, but it's headed in some of the towns you see listed on the right side of your screen. That would include Bayview in about 2 minutes, Providence about 8:58, Shooks Gap about 8:59. These are sometimes subdivisions, sometimes they're just little towns or communities, but if you're from those areas, you know exactly where we are. We're looking at Seymour Heights about 9:01. Where some of the energy from these severe thunderstorms could produce some issues. 60-mile-an-hour winds. I'm looking at the National Weather Service on the Captain Accurate Weather app. Of course, we always promote having multiple sources. Having a NOAA weather radio is fantastic. Having a good weather app is great too, because you never know if the cell phone towers are going to be affected by the wind. So you like to have the NOAA weather radio as a backup. There's other ways also to get the information. But this is actually moving. Last I checked from the Weather Service, they had an update at 8:50. That was 5 minutes ago. They said at 8:50 this storm was near, at the moment, near Eagleton Village, or 7 miles east of Alcoa, and it's moving east at 40 miles per hour. So we've got some of the towns listed here based on the analysis of our Barron radar, and it's suggesting it's moving to the east roughly about the same speed, east at 40 miles an hour, but there could be 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. So if you're on the call, let me know. I'm on both Facebook and YouTube. Would love to hear what you are seeing, experiencing, or maybe nothing at all. Because, again, this is pretty concentrated and localized there in Blount County. That's what's in effect at the moment. Until 9:15, it's really southeastern Knox, northeastern Blount County, and west central Sevier County. So to be fair, it's 3 slivers, 3 sections of 3 counties in effect until 9:15. If you got a comment, let me know. I've got some notes on here from Tasha D. Lamb. Storming pretty good Morristown, she says. Pretty stormy in Morristown. We're going to look at Hamlin County as well. As I get settled here in my seat, take a look close at what's going on. If this is moving officially at 40 miles an hour, let's just do a trek. And we have a new storm, too. I don't want to leave that one out that's going to affect Greenville. That's until 9:45. So that we've got 2 storms we're watching at this time. This one that's moving to the east at 40. Let's just take a look. I see Sevierville. I see Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg. May not be in the warned area yet, but if it moves at 40 miles an hour in this direction, it's going to be affecting these towns and counties. Let's put this on the left side. This would affect areas around DuPont, 901, Walden's Creek, 907, and Wares Valley at 908. So it eventually could work its way, I'm looking over here specifically, around Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Gatlinburg. You're not in the warned area yet, but it's headed your direction as it's moving east at 40 miles per hour. Let's take a look at the one in Morristown as well. We can look at that one as well, because this will last until 9:45. It will last another 30 minutes beyond the other one. So we've got multiple storms, one that's affecting the Morristown area. In fact, it looks like the worst of it's left Morristown. It's now affecting Mohawk and maybe even Bulls Gap. A High Point about to get hammered with some high winds, some damaging wind. We got lightning, too, that kind of muddies up the playing field. But there's about 500 lightning strikes just on this image when I zoom in this tightly. So we could take the lightning off just to declutter the map. But what are we getting from the Weather Service in terms of the wind speeds here? Is it similar? Is it moving to the east at 40 miles an hour? The answer is yes. It was near Parrottsville. It was near Bainbury, moving east at 40 miles per hour, and is essentially 6 miles east of Russellville. So we're basically moving at the same speed as the other line, but this is going to affect some other towns. So let's just do a little track here. We'll just kind of project this out 40 miles an hour, so that would put us in this neighborhood headed toward Irwin. But these towns on the screen would be the next ones in line, so you've got a few minutes. It's 8:58 Eastern Time on the 6th, excuse me. It's 5/6, right? May 6th, about 8:58. And we've got some Mohawk. It's affecting you right now. Most likely Bybee here at the top of the hour. Pilot Knob at 9:05 and Midway at 9:06. If you got a comment, let me know. Christian Burns had some strong rain just come through east of Maryville. Thank you for that update, Christian. I know a lot of folks reading these comments take value, because I think it's important people see it. Starting in Seymour right now, says LJ. Thank you for that. Appreciate that update. Cray Slavin, good evening, Captain. Got a little bit of got a little mean in my area, Cookville today. And Wanda Poe says that it came a storm here in Newport. It hailed with strong lightning and thunder and pouring down rain. We've had all that. We can actually kind of look at the playing field as a whole here, but I wanted you to see these are the 2 severe thunderstorm areas that are most concerning to us right now. This one lasting until 9:45. The other one will be expiring in about 15 minutes, but it could have enough legs where we could be forward thinking and just do our own little graph, right? Let's just assume the Weather Service does one of these, right? Maybe they put this area, Sevierville, Pigeon Forge, Dollywood, Gatlinburg, into the next warned area. If this thing is holding steady. If it's getting weaker, they might not do that at all. They might just let it ride. But we'll keep an eye on that. I can give you a bird's eye view on the future radar here in a moment because that's one of the cool tools that we have at our disposal. But I will tell you this, it's kind of interesting. This is the playing field. There were tornado concerns. In fact, a confirmed tornado not far from Sparta out in the middle part of Tennessee today. But what it's moved in here, this is the appetizer in this regard. We've got severe weather threats tomorrow, and we have another one on Wednesday and especially Wednesday night. So it's not going to be like perfect. It's not going to be all the time. I often get the question, will I have time to mow my lawn? Sure, there'll be intervals just like there was today. We had some rain perhaps late morning, had it again this afternoon, and there were breaks in between. That's the type of situation this will likely develop because tomorrow I have us at 84. We got up to 81 today. 81 today. Notice that we're now at this point in time. I got some other notes coming in. If you have a comment, a concern, I want to show you what it's going to look like in 60 minutes from now. How can I do that? What tool can I pull out of my tool chest to give you an idea of what's going on in the future? Let's do that. Let's go back in time and take a look at the future radar. Let's say it's 9 o'clock now, right? 9 o'clock. Where is this rain going 60 minutes from now? Let's move forward. This future radar, this is one of the cool tools you have at your disposal on the app. The Captain Accurate weather app with Pete Michaels Traffic also has this ability. And it looks like by 10 o'clock, an hour from now, it's already moved out of much of the Smokies. It's already crossing over into North Carolina 1 hour from now. So then it'll be easier sleeping weather, I would presume, and I would assume that this may be weakening because some of the storms that we see in Blount County may actually be getting weaker. Some of the redness turns to yellow and so forth. So it'll, again, the longer the sun's been down, we lose the heat source. Some of these storms lose some of their punch, unless, of course, they're being triggered by another triggering mechanism, like a front, can actually cause them to get stronger at night. But some cases, in this way, it may be weakening over time. So that's what we'll be watching over the next 60 minutes. Let's go back to the radar if you're just joining me. I wanted to keep this short and sweet as what came in. I noticed we had one severe thunderstorm warning for the Blount County area. We'll take off the looping feature, but you've got one severe thunderstorm warning till 9:15. That's about 13 minutes from now. And of course, the other one that includes parts of Cocke County, Greene County, and now it looks like part of Hamlin County until 9:45. If you got another comment, let me know. Pete says it's easing up east of Maryville. That's good. That means better sleeping weather tonight. Pete, glad to have you here. Glad to have all of you here as we're watching some of these storms come through. How about hail? Who has had any hail? Anybody's had hail today? Let me know. I'm going to take a look at the hail situation. Have we had any hail since earlier? If we go back in the last hour, we probably could see a trail of it. Yep, there's been some. There's been some hail there, and some of those brighter colors, the ones that turn pink over here, look like it's probably about an inch, right? So if we put a stop on that, 1 inch hail just north of Newport, that looks like it was probably right, not far from Bybee. Right, just north of Bybee, perhaps 1 inch hail. That would be the size of a George Washington quarter if it verified. Sometimes they're smaller. Here's a ½ inch hail, potentially in north of Walden, maybe south of Seymour. But again, it's always better to have a hail report from a spotter like you rather than just rely solely on the data from the radar, because the radar can sometimes overestimate it, and that's why it's good to have better intel on the ground. If you got another note, let me know. Felicia Moyers, Sexton, hi, how are you? She says, we had small hail in South Knoxville today. Well, that's awesome. Not awesome that you had it, but awesome that you could verify it. I love it. Small hail, maybe the size of a pea. You know, we have categories when we play this game. Go back to, my live stream is already here. But when we talk about hail, we talk about different sizes, right? When we talk about penny size or pea size, it's usually 1/4 or 3/4 of an inch. But usually it takes an inch. That's a George Washington quarter when the National Weather Service calls it severe. Now, some of you might be thinking, I just bought a new truck. I just bought a new car. It may be new to you or new to me, a new car, whatever. You don't want any hail, right? Any hail is a severe situation because you don't want the dents or the dings or the pings on your car. But the Weather Service pretty much grades it once it's the size of a quarter, then you're talking severe weather. And if it's an inch and a half, it's the size of a ping pong ball. Thankfully, we haven't had that type of situation. And when it's baseball or softball, that's more common out to the west. typically when we see that type of situation go on. And you might say, well, what causes that? Well, basically, when you get these strong updrafts, some of these thunderstorms cause these hailstones to go up, and until they reach that certain point in time where gravity is stronger, pulls it down, those hailstones get carried up, they get super cooled, they freeze into small hailstones, and then what happens? It goes up and down like on a hamster wheel until those super cooled water droplets reach the point where the updraft can't keep up with gravity, because these things get bigger like a snowball that you've rolled in the snow, right? Over time, they'll eventually come crashing down, and that's what happens. They come crashing down on the street. When the hailstones reach that point where the updraft weakens, it comes crashing like that. So that's what we had today in some spots, and I think we're going to see more of this to come Tuesday and Wednesday. Let's get back to the radar. Kelly says we saw a funnel cloud tornado forming in the Tansy area in Crossville. That was pretty scary for a while, because I know it was in places like White County, and there were some areas around Sparta where they had confirmed a tornado. In fact, we could probably do a little check here, a little eyeball. These are the storm reports. We had some hail reported there, about 0.8, so that would be the 3/4 inch size here. I'm looking at this little report that came in at 5:40 today. This was reported about dime size, right? The dime size in the bottom right, 0.75. But so there were some reports of hail today. Ping pong ball size hail was reported today at 5:55. So this was relayed through Facebook. So that's why I said having spotters becomes very, very handy. There was also some, remember we had this severe thunderstorm that rolled through Cock County and Sevier County earlier today, so that's where that lines up. But this is the storm that's now likely to leave this one box near Doyle Springs and could very well develop a new box if the Weather Service deems it appropriate. We'll be keeping an eye on that here in the next few minutes. By the way, it's 9:06. Got one box disappearing at 9:15. Oh, yes, I do see the tornado marker. How about you? Do you see that? It's back here on the left side. That was a confirmed tornado just 1 mile northwest of Smithville, Tennessee. So that is confirmed. Off-duty employee and an emergency manager reported the tornado, and video came in from social media. That also confirmed this tornado that occurred today. This was 4:24 Central Time. That's 5:24 Eastern Time. It was over there, not here, thankfully, right? Tomorrow we'll be keeping an eye on what we see is potential for strong storms, possibly isolated severe tomorrow. In fact, let me just go ahead while we're waiting for this to develop. Just want to revisit. We're going to wait to see if something develops here in the next few minutes, because it's 9:07. This is the next potential spot to grow from the Weather Service. We'll watch that. But we also have this area in here that's now affecting places like Marvin, Moshheim, Mohawk, Brunner Grove, and Bybee. But it's headed toward Greenville. So if you're in Greenville, you want to have heads up. You're under a severe thunderstorm warning until 9:45 this evening. That's where things are going to possibly be a little noisy here. If you have a dog or cat that's under the desk, that might be why. I want to show you the other thing. The other thing I want to show you is these little bow echoes. Sometimes we get these things. We could have more of these to come. When you have a moist environment, no doubt we're very humid. This humidity will drop like a rock this weekend. This weekend, if you've seen my 7-day, we say goodbye to this humidity. But when these storms become linear, they likely become severe in nature. So this line looks like Robin Hood's bow and arrow, well, minus the arrow, just the bow. The backside winds are stronger than the winds ahead, and sometimes they can cause a lot of damage, which I think could happen on Wednesday night. Wednesday night, my view, is the main event for this week for severe weather. In terms of squall lines, an intense squall line of storms, I think the main event is this Wednesday night, and it could be in the wee hours of your Thursday morning, so timing is going to be tricky. But boy, when they come in like a freight train, right? We see that. We've seen that happen before. Let me go back. I had my seasonal snow analysis because I was looking at all the snow that had occurred. It's still falling in parts of, still happening in parts of Denver and the Rockies. They've been dealing with a lot of snow. But I wanted to show you this as we jump ahead to the future rainfall. Let me show you what happens to the amount of rain as we go through 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. Many of us pick up another ½ inch. That takes us through 7 p.m. on the 7th. Then we go into Tuesday night. We're adding more rain. It's not sunshine and lollipops. Far from it. 5 o'clock Wednesday, it looks like this, but you said Wednesday night's the main event. Well, if you need evidence, watch that turns yellow. I think it's going to turn yellow. Oh, no. Yeah, okay, I believe you, Aldrich. Okay, so Wednesday night, Thursday morning, we're going to get a surge of rain. We could have some flooding. We could have some bow echoes. We could have some tornadoes. We could have any number of things. Damaging wind. You don't need a tornado to have damage. That's one thing for sure. But I can tell you this, by the time we get to this weekend, things are going to change in a big way. I talk about Mother's Day. In time for this weekend getting cooler, like the humidity is going to go out like a rock. It's bye-bye. All that cool air and blue would be morning lows in the 40s. Oh my. That's Saturday morning, we're in the 40s, and there's no humidity. It's going to be very cool, and this cool air is going to come back in, and many of us will declare it as a blackberry winter, because it gets cool just in time for Mother's Day. Let's get back to the big story at hand. It's why I jumped in here was the severe weather. We have Greenville, Bright Hope, and maybe Cedar Creek on deck for maybe some strong storms coming into play. And we're now 5 minutes away. I'm opening the door if anyone has any questions, thoughts, comments, or maybe an observation. I see Donald and Sandra Pace. Thank you for keeping us updated. My pleasure, Donald and Sandra. Glad to have you both here. Susan Blaine, one of my premium members, says thank you for doing this live feed. We appreciate you anytime. I just want to, I'm just giving you the data. You guys are just as much, the most important thing is keeping you safe in these types of situations. I did put the eyedropper here. These are what we call LSRs. If there's one thing you should know about weather, we love our acronyms, right? We call it NOAA. Instead of saying the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration every time, we prefer NOAA. We instead of calling it the Storm Prediction Center, we like to call it the SPC. But we like to call our local storm reports LSRs, and that's what we have here. We have four, count them, 4 LSRs for hail that occurred a dime size. We had dime size. To the east of that, we had ping pong ball size there around Gatlinburg. That was reported at 5:55 today, and we had a little more, almost ping pong, 1.3 inches in Gatlinburg at 5:42. So it was quite a bit of hail earlier today, Sevier County. I don't think you necessarily want any more weather like that, but this is a line that's still working its way. In fact, let's go ahead and just do another check. Assuming that this is headed to the east, still at 40 miles an hour. Let's put in some new towns so that everyone knows where it's headed. Is it headed to my town or your town? Possibly. Pigeon Forge here at 912 should be on your doorstep on the west side of Pigeon Forge. Sevierville, 913. We're looking at Splash Country, 914. Well, that's really specific. Yeah. Parrot Mountain, 915. This line of showers that may or may not be severe at this point, but we'll keep an eye on it because, like I said, usually the Weather Service likes to wait till this box is through, 9:15, then they issue a new one. It could be what happens here, or they may just let it expire. That's okay. I'm just going to react to where they are at this point. We have also more storm reports, local storm reports. There was a, what looks like typically I see that little exclamation point. I'm wondering if that was a lightning situation. Nope, funnel cloud. So that's what we had, a funnel cloud in Wilson County today, but we had an actual tornado believed to have been 1 mile northwest of Smithville in DeKalb County. There, an off-duty employee, an emergency manager, so somebody who is related to the EM world here. So we're keeping an eye on the storms here. We have one that's expiring in 3 minutes. Interested to see what's coming up next. And then the one that's going to be moving into central Greene County here in the next few minutes. That runs till 9:45. Melissa Mumpower, hello and happy Monday night to you. She says it was crazy here in Talbot also. I don't doubt it. In fact, why don't we do a review? In case you missed it, I do this a lot for my premium members. I think they like the Captain Accurate radar review. Sometimes I'll go back 12 or even 24 hours, but we can go back just go back 4 hours. Let's go back 4 hours. Let me show you what you missed, right? Or what you lived through. Some of you say, I was bad. It was really bad. If so, if I put a lightning in here, we put this here. Let's see how this plays through. This takes us back to 5:13 today. You can see how this is blown up, right? I think the lightning is probably too distracting. But you can get a sense what's happened here. These storms have come in. But they did roll right through Talbot. And to confirm Melissa Mumpower, it was crazy here in Talbot, roughly around just before 8:30, right? And then it moved to the east. Now, a lot better, I'm sure, in Talbot than it was just a few minutes ago. If I put a little stoppage on here, I'll go back in here and see where's Talbot. We've got Talbot right here. On my screen, we'll circle Talbot for those that might not know where Talbot is. But if we go back, I'm assuming it was crazy for you right about 8:30. Am I right? I think Melissa's going, yeah, it was about 8:30. Storm was pretty strong going across Talbot in a few minutes ago. Thank you, David. My pleasure. Melissa, glad to have you here. Robin Cardwell Kelly just had one heck of a storm come through my area in Dandridge. The sky looked really eerie. I don't doubt that. I just took a walk myself, and I got a picture of a rainbow that I posted, and I was getting poured down. I had a big old golf umbrella, you know, a big umbrella. But all the thunder had disappeared, so I thought, well, maybe I'm okay for a walk to stretch my legs. The cows seemed to like the picture, but anyway, if you want to look at that, it's from earlier on the timeline. Holly says really storming in Pigeon Forge. Thank you for that. Let's go back to the current time. I think that would be more important as we're going to go back and take the time lapse off. I think we can confirm as we look at the new situation here. Yep, we've got some nasty storms moving through Pigeon Forge. And we've already established that this may be moving to the east at 40 miles an hour. So if we take off this particular squall line headed to the east at 40 miles an hour, it's probably going to put right there, headed in the direction of Cosby. And they allowed it to expire. So this line that's coming through Pigeon Forge is not technically severe. That's the expectation. But if we take a look at the velocity, we could see some of the stronger winds perhaps that have been going through some of the areas. They've been pretty strong in the last 15, 20 minutes or so. So they've been 40, 50. But usually it's a 60-mile-an-hour wind speed that the Weather Service will typically issue a severe thunderstorm. And there's other factors too. Some of the winds that might be here may not encompass the entire area. So let's go back on this side. Yep, we don't even have rain in central Knoxville or central Knox County. It's all down to the south and east. So it's really affecting Sevierville. And you can almost detect there's a little of a bow, right? A bow and arrow, the Robin Hood effect. All that's kind of bowing into Pigeon Forge. It may not have winds of 60, but you could have easily gusts 40 or 50 miles per hour. So please take cover. Get away from windows, let this pass, and if it's scaring your dog, reassure your dog. Look at the scan, how it's already moving well past Pigeon Forge now and headed toward Gatlinburg. So Gatlinburg over here on the bottom side of my screen here, and Pittman Center here. These are two spots that we'll have to watch this particular storm, but not necessarily severe, but coming down in buckets. Wares Valley and Pigeon Forge and Dollywood and Sevierville at the moment. Katrina Parker says it's still raining in White Pine. I don't doubt that. Maybe not as intense as it was earlier, but Katrina, thank you for that update. And I do see still lightning here in Dandridge from Durhanda there. So let's take a look at Dandridge. Dandridge up to the upper side of the screen here. There's Dandridge. Hello, Dandridge. So you're not quite in the thick of it like our friends in the red areas, but you may still be getting quite a bit of rain. I want to say a special thanks to my sponsor, Marco's Pizza. You say, what's so special about Marco's? Well, Marco's has done a lot of great things in the community. That's one of their mission statements. They are a corporate sponsor for No Kid Hungry. And if some of you know, I got a chance to, back in March, had a chance to speak to 350 sixth graders at Hardin Valley Middle. And Marco's was kind enough to feed every one of those kiddos. And the teachers too. So they do a lot of great things helping out kids that might be hungry, but they also do some other things they're going to be doing some new things too, which I'll reveal coming up. But if you haven't picked up dinner tonight, may I recommend Marco's Pizza, because they are the sponsor for the Ultimate Doppler Radar, now open in Hardin Valley, Farragut, Maryville, Fountain City, Halls, Oak Ridge, Middlebrook, and Ebenezer Road. Those are the ones that are open. Some of them might have been maybe have closed temporarily, but these are the ones I do know that are open. Go to marcos.com. They also have great pepperoni pizza, $9.99. Their pepperoni magnifico is magnificent, and if you're looking for a great lunch idea tomorrow, the new Pozzolis are fantastic. They are larger than they look on this picture. One of them is enough to fill you up, but you can grab one of those too next time you're in town in Hardin Valley, Farragut, Maryville, among others. But as we go back to the Ultimate Doppler Radar, we got some downpours right now in Sevierville. We'll overlay the lightning. We got those things too. We got lightning strikes. 174 in the last couple of minutes. And again, this is one element. Tremont's getting some downpours as it's beginning to move into Elkmont as well. If we look over toward Newport, you're getting some rain, not severe. Storms are not severe here, but there's quite a bit of rain around Carson Springs, and also back where we do get into the warned area is Greenville. It's finally reached this area. This runs till 9:45. So the only severe thunderstorm warning that we have at the moment is in the Greene County area. In fact, let me just get an update from our friends at the Weather Service via the Captain Accurate weather app. I think you'll be impressed. They are saying at 9:07, their last update was southwestern Washington, northeastern Cock County, and Greene counties until 9:45. They said this storm was about 6 miles west of Greenville. Well, we know it's in Greenville now. And it was moving east at 40 miles an hour. That has not changed. So that is one consistency that we are seeing. And if we do a little track here, we can get a quick check of the speed. This thing's moving at 36 miles an hour to the east, likely to affect areas around Eastview at 9:25 and Fairfield at 9:25. Melissa Mumpower, thankfully you're safe. David, you may want to check this out. Ooh, I'll have to check. I don't know if she's got a post or something for me. But Felicia says we need a Marco's in South Knoxville. I will let the owner know. He is a very community-conscious owner. But I will say this, he is excited about East Tennessee. Beverly, wish Carnes would get a storm. Oh, somebody wants to, we've got plenty of opportunities, Beverly. Be careful what you wish for. As I mentioned, Wednesday night, I think, will be the grand finale. The main event, we'll still get some rain on Thursday, but I think the main event will come in very late Wednesday night with a nasty squall line that will resemble a bow echo, which we covered on this live stream. And Cody Blankenship says, hey, glad to have Cody here. I'm watching all your comments. And I'm not on camera because I want to focus on the weather, right? We'll be doing tomorrow morning. I'll be talking about the new product that Weigel's has. They got a brand new milk flavor. You're going to love that. We'll talk about that tomorrow morning. And we'll also preview some of the interesting weather that we have in terms of severe weather. Speaking of which, I don't want to leave here without you knowing, not only about them as always, but I do mention quite a bit about the Storm Prediction Center. When you see colors that are red, which we had today, there were some areas that were turning actually purple. They were red last night. They moved it to high. They don't use this purple widespread severe storms expected very often. It's usually indicative of a major severe thunderstorm or severe tornado outbreak, and that's what we had today in Oklahoma. They don't catch a break. They don't. They really don't catch a break there. But this was the concern with this map. And you'll notice that it put Knoxville, some areas in East Tennessee, under the marginal risk. But you said, well, Morristown had one, and we weren't dark green either. So it's not an exact science, but that was the expectation today. Now, come tomorrow, what happens? Well, you can see that we have everybody in East Tennessee at least a level 1. Let me go back over here. Oops, that's number 2. I'm on my wrong keyframe here, but this will give you an idea that tomorrow there will likely be more scattered storms from Jellicoe northward, Bowling Green, and areas around Jamestown. Those areas in yellow would be scattered severe storms. That's Tuesday night, while we may find some isolated severe storms Tuesday. But I've already indicated that the grand event will come in Wednesday night. This is what's now showing as an enhanced. Usually the orange area is almost synonymous with power outages and downed trees. You get the level 3 enhanced, numerous storms in orange, and it's like almost assured lights out. Maybe the power flickers oftentimes in these orange areas. But we, here in Knox County, will have this come down from the Bowling Green area, I think, Wednesday night. So we'll be watching that very closely. This will be coming in, I believe, with some bravado on Wednesday night. Something to watch. So for someone who's hoping for rain and Carnes, be careful what you wish for, because it will be coming back, no doubt. Beverly says, I'm glad I don't live in Oklahoma. They've been getting hit bad. That is true. In fact, while I have you on the line here, let's go ahead and take a look. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at some of the damage. That's what I'm trying to say. Yep. Let's see here. The damage today for the 6th. We've had 9 tornadoes, one of them in Tennessee. We've already covered that near Smithville. But the other 9 have been, let's see, 1, 2, 3 so far in Oklahoma. And we've had 2 in South Dakota, 2 in South Dakota, 1 in Nebraska. That could grow. That could get worse over the evening because, again, they're an hour behind us. It's only 8:23 Central Time there. We still have these downpours around Pigeon Forge, Dollywood, 9:25. So they're going to get more heavy rain around Dollywood, McCookville, Williamsburg, 9:27. Zion Grove, again, we're tracking a strong storm here. Let me be clear. Oftentimes we'll say strong to severe. This is a strong storm. It has not been considered severe, but it's strong enough to wake you up and maybe startle the dog or cat. Where we do have a severe storm is the one in yellow, and that's affecting Greenville. It's also headed in this direction. Maybe pop this up here just to give you some new towns. Kennytown, 9:27. Babbs Mill, 9:37. And Walkertown at 9:40. This is moving to the east at 24 miles an hour. And you'll notice I like to look at what's called the BTI score. It's at the bottom of this box. It's on your phone if and only if it applies to you. It's a scale of 0 to 10, basically 0 to 10. Give you an idea of what that looks like graphically. But this is that BTI score that I'm talking about. This is, where am I? Here I am. The BTI score gives you an idea of the likelihood of a tornado forming. So when you download the free Captain Accurate Weather app with Pete Michaels Traffic, you're getting all the Weather Service alerts. You're getting 3 extras, a twisting storm approaching alert, which comes usually before a severe thunderstorm warning. And it also has a BTI number. Sometimes it does. If it's a 0, 1, or 2, you just keep an eye on it. If it's a 3 or 4, you want to keep an eye on it, because with each progressive scan, it might get intenser. It could get stronger. It could get weaker. But if it's a 7, 8, or 9, you get a BTI score. My recommendation is don't bat an eyelash. Just get into your safe space, because the skill score of the Tornado Barron Index, the BTI, is almost 97, 98%. When they issue, and they don't issue it often, but when they do, a 7, 8, or 9, just hop into the safe space. Gather the wife and kids, get everybody into safe space. Hopefully you know where that is. Hopefully it's in an interior room in your house without windows, like an interior bathroom, because sometimes that might be of great help to you. So when it's a 2-point something, it's on a minimal risk. But if it's a higher 7 or 8 or 9, that's why when we were looking at the radar here just a moment ago, we saw, what did we see? We saw that it had a BTI that was less than 3, so it would probably be less likely that it had a tornado associated with it. But that's something we'll keep an eye on in the coming days, because we obviously have more activity. Look at the BTI here. It's a 2.2 at the bottom. So a 2.2 would not jump off the page and say that there's probably nothing tornadic here, but it's got an 80% chance for some hail, and that's one of the aspects that we're probably going to continue to watch over the coming days as well. If we have some hail, usually it'll show up in that pink area, and we'll take off the warned area. But you can see here, just in the last, say, 30 minutes, 40 minutes, let's go back, you can see the trail of what's been happening in terms of hail. It's just one of those things we're keeping an eye on. Hail tracker. This also gives you an idea of where it's been over the last 30 minutes, and there's been quite a bit of it in spots. Some of us had larger hail a couple of hours ago, perhaps in Sevier County. So that's one aspect we're watching. But just to recap, I just want to also look at one other thing, power outages. Who's without power? Is anybody without power? Is that something that we should be concerned about in the coming days? The answer is yes. I think it's something we want to watch. Let's take a look. I spy with my little eye somebody's lost power in Blount County by the order of 200 people. There are about 100 folks without power in Sevierville County at the moment, and 500 in Jefferson County. And if you're in, say, Hancock County, you're about 100, and further north across the state line, about 100 there, maybe in not far from Williamsburg. So across the state line into Kentucky. Keep an eye on that. So been watching Ryan Hall, and just now, wow, with these tornadoes. You have a lot going on, and there's a lot to keep an eye on in the coming days, Beverly. Thanks for your note. Wanted to post this. Thank you for warning us, David. And I will wrap things up here. But just keep in mind, if you have to, make sure your phone is charged, or you have candles or someplace to stay warm, or even just keep the lights on. That would be the challenge, I think, over the next couple of days if you lose power. Don't be surprised, because these storms are going to have a lot of wind, part of the situation here. But that's where we are at the moment. The only warning that we have right now will last until 9:45 for Greene County. It looks like it's now east of Greenville as far as the worst of it. Anyway, thank you so much for being here. I will join you tomorrow live at 6:40, and if you can always watch it on delay. But have a great night, and thanks so much for being here. Take care.